The Middle East is currently locked in a deadly military conflict, and while the fighting is happening thousands of miles away, the resulting financial shockwaves are already making their way into the United States. It escalated when US and Israeli forces launched coordinated strikes on Iran's nuclear facility located in Natanz. Iran quickly retaliated by launching missile and drone attacks at oil refineries in Kuwait and Israel. Simultaneously, targets linked to Hezbollah in Beirut were hit, physically expanding the war zone. President Trump has officially ruled out a ceasefire, insisting that the military campaign has to continue. So we have to ask, how does a geopolitical conflict on the other side of the planet manage to make your morning commute and your weekly grocery run noticeably more expensive? To understand the connection, look at the Strait of Hormuz. It's the critical bottleneck for 20% of global oil and LNG. Due to active fighting nearby, commercial shipping lanes are entirely disrupted. Tankers are forced to reroute, taking much longer paths to avoid danger. These extended detours cause severe delays in global energy deliveries. On top of that, the insurance costs for the few ships still willing to travel near the combat zone have skyrocketed, putting massive financial strain on the entire supply chain. This line graph maps out the potential financial damage. Analysts are warning that if the conflict drags on, crude oil prices could surge by as much as $50 per barrel. The United States did temporarily ease sanctions on Iranian oil to help stabilize the global supply, but the market remains highly volatile. We are already seeing the domestic impact of this energy shock. In Washington, D.C., gasoline prices have jumped to over $7 a gallon. Oil is the primary fuel for global trade. When a geographical highway in the Middle East gets blocked, the resulting supply shortage guarantees a direct financial hit to the American consumer right at the gas pump. This flowchart illustrates how expensive energy bleeds into the broader economy. High fuel prices directly increase the operating costs for commercial delivery fleets, manufacturing plants, and food distributors. Running a large-scale factory floor requires massive amounts of power. When energy rates spike, producing everyday raw goods becomes significantly more expensive for the manufacturer. Those elevated manufacturing and transport costs are quickly passed down the line. Everyday Americans end up footing the bill when they walk down the grocery aisle to buy basic necessities. This puts the Federal Reserve, the central banking system of the United States, in a difficult position, responsible for managing the country's money supply. They now have to choose between raising interest rates again to cool the economy or risk runaway inflation. Wall Street hates uncertainty. As a result, the stock market is experiencing wild swings, with tech stocks and consumer goods companies taking some of the heaviest losses. Terrified investors are actively abandoning the stock market. They are moving their money into secure, stable assets like gold and U.S. Treasury bonds. Treasury bonds are essentially fixed-interest loans that investors make to the federal government. When the stock market drops, millions of working-class Americans watch their 401ks and retirement savings shrink. A 401k is an employer-sponsored retirement account that invests a portion of your paycheck into the market. This means the volatility hits ordinary households directly. The economic ripples are extending well beyond the United States. Europe is bracing for higher energy costs heading into winter. Asian markets are reacting to sudden oil shortages, and Iran has even threatened attacks on global tourist sites, raising security concerns worldwide. The U.S. economy is deeply tied to these international markets. Trying to isolate our finances from these global shocks is virtually impossible, especially since fragile global trade agreements, particularly those with China, are at risk of being destabilized. This bulleted list breaks down the 4 immediate financial threats to your wallet. You are facing higher prices at the pump, growing inflation on your groceries, volatile investments eating into your retirement, and a looming risk of an economic recession if oil supplies remain disrupted. The current administration is facing intense pressure to navigate this crisis. They have to find a way to balance their strict military objectives abroad with the need for domestic economic stability here at home. The primary concern is how long the American middle class can absorb these financial hits, while ordinary households are already forced to tighten their budgets. To stay informed on how global events continue to shape your economy, make sure to subscribe to Deep Report for real-time analysis.